Hello guys and welcome back to Oz on the Ball. Welcome to my Finals Week 2 tips video or semi-finals tips video. So only 2 games this week and now only 5 matches left for the year. So that is pretty crazy. The season has really flown by and it was a pretty good first week of finals and it sets up a really interesting second week of finals. So last week, 0 out of 4 tips. There were 3 upsets, and then I tipped an upset tip that didn't eventuate. So horrible week for tipping. 0 out of 4 Ollie's calls as well. So not great, but yeah, it was a good week of games. Had some close games like Freo Gold Coast. That was one of the best finals I've seen in recent memory, and then also had a couple of blowouts, but a couple of upsets like Collingwood beating Adelaide away, Hawks getting a win on the road, Geelong Brisbane was a bit underwhelming, but still a pretty good first week of finals. Now builds for an exciting second week. So, as I said last week, 0 out of 4 tips, so it wasn't great. First game, Adelaide Collingwood. I said Adelaide would get up at home by 17. Collingwood, well, they always show up in finals, won by 24, so not a great start margin-wise as well. And then Geelong Brisbane, I tipped Brisbane in probably an upset. Geelong got the win, which, again, a bit like Collingwood, always turn up in finals, but yeah, not great performance from the Lions. And then on the Saturday, I had 2 elimination finals. Giants-Hawks was a pretty crazy game. Hawks looked like they were going to win easy. Giants come from the clouds, but then the Hawks held on in the end to win comfortably in the end. And then Freo Gold Coast. Gold Coast were up most of the match, but then Freo come back, hit the lead, and then Gold Coast at the end come from the clouds, but we're down by a goal with 2 minutes to go. And then Andrew kicks a goal, Spy kicks a goal, and they progress, winning their first ever final. So it was a pretty good first week of finals. 0 out of 4 tips, not great, but still a good week. So moving on to my tips. First game of the 2 games, Friday night, Adelaide Oval. This is going to be an interesting one. Got Adelaide v Hawthorn. Adelaide Oval, 7:40pm. Adelaide record 18-5. Last week lost to Collingwood by 24. Wasn't a great performance. Just cracked under the pressure as it was their first. For most of the team, it was their first final, and even the players that had played finals, it had been a couple of years. So it was a bit disappointing as minor premiers to not even put up a great fight in the first final. But Collingwood do that. You knew they had it in them, and now Adelaide, well, they're going to have to win in a pretty interesting game against the Hawks to make a prelim. And then you got the Hawks 15-8. Last week beat GWS by 19. So this game, first v 8th on the ladder. After the regular season. Hawks, yeah, it was a pretty good performance. That third quarter was a bit disappointing, but the rest of the performance was great. And now, back in Adelaide for another semi-final. This could really go either way. I know it's first v 8th, but to be honest, Hawks are just as good a chance to win this as Crows. And either sets up Geelong Adelaide prelim, which would be pretty interesting, or Geelong Hawthorn prelim would be absolutely massive, top prelim you'd get 10 years ago. But I reckon I'm going to tip Adelaide in this one. I'm going to tip them in a pretty close one. I'm going to tip them by 9 points. With my Ollie's call, Jack Ginnivan has less than 10 disposals. Next game, last game of the rounds as well. Gabba, 7:35pm Saturday. Got a Q clash, absolutely massive. Biggest game in Queensland history, I reckon. Q Clash semi-final, biggest game in Suns history. Should be a cracking game. Lions 16-1-6 last week, lost to Geelong by 38. Pretty disappointing performance. Their first half was alright, those rain and freeze helped, and then their second half was just pretty disappointing. Didn't come out after half time looking good, and yeah, lost by 40 points in the end. Geelong just ran over the top of them, made another prelim for something different. And then you got the Suns, 15-8, last week beat Freo by 1. The Suns, could they make the grand final? I think they actually can. They've got the potential. Last time, what even makes this more matchup more interesting, when they played a month and a half ago, Suns won by 60 points. Wasn't people's first, was in the wet, but still, that'll give the Suns confidence. And this game is going to be really interesting. Lions do usually play pretty well at the Gabba, but they have been a bit off this season at the Gabba, so you never know. Winner of this plays Collingwood, so it's either the 2023 grand final rematch or Suns Collingwood would be. They played a couple of months ago. Suns got the win, so Suns will have confidence either way. If they do win, I mean. So this game could be really close, almost 50-50, I would say. The Suns probably do go in as the underdogs, but I reckon Suns could get up. I think they've got the potential. They're building. Could they make a granny in their first final series? You don't know, but I'm going to tip them. I'm going to go the upset. I'm going to tip Gold Coast by 15 with my Oz Cole, Rowell and Anderson combined for 250 plus super coach points. So just to recap on my two tips for the round, my semi-final tips. First game, Adelaide Hawthorn, 70-30, so it could go either way. I'm going to tip Adelaide at this one. I think they'll be too strong at the Adelaide Oval. Tip them by 9 to set up a prelim final with Geelong. And then Q Clash at the Gabba. Lions favourites in this one, as you'd expect, but I think the Suns, they're a chance to go on a run and then set up a match with Collingwood in the prelim, who they have beat this year, so I'm going to tip the Suns in an upset. This could backfire, I could go 0-2 again, but you never know, I could go 2-2, but those are my tips for semi-finals. Thanks for watching Ollie's on the Ball. I hope you enjoyed another tips video. 5 games left for the season. I've still got no clue who's going to win the premiership. Should be exciting finish to the season. And yeah, footy season's coming to an end, so there will be a bit of cricket content coming up over the next few months. Can't wait for cricket season, but thanks for watching Ollie's on the Ball and see you next time.